Previously on the MidFlight Crisis.
Aurelian sand dragons are very special creatures.
Did you find it?
Yes.
Susanna, tell your men to stand down.
I know you, Jessica. You're not telling the whole truth.
The Chronicles of Clonosiosite. Complete history of the serendibite.
Look at the spine. It's inlaid with serendibite gems.
Susanna, you shot him.
I was aiming for Jessica.
Susanna is patient zero?
It looks like you've made your decision about whose side you're on. You're right. I started this virus, but I didn't create it. It was given to me by someone.
Why would you do this? You have everything you could ever want here.
I've seen friends and family live out their lifetimes in front of me. That's my curse. I wanted to find a way to extend life for everyone. I was handed an opportunity that I believed could do that. I didn't realize the damage it caused until it was too late.
But you continued to experiment with these creatures.
They could hold the secrets to immortality. I just needed more time.
It doesn't work that way. They were human. You were once human.
I won't ask you again. Which side are you on?
They are on our side, the side of justice.
Gatsby!
No use against my deflector shield, I'm afraid. You caught me off guard last time.
How did you survive that last blast?
I had a butt cake in my jacket pocket. It absorbed the majority of the blast. Butt cake body armor, courtesy of that pastry chef.
Charley, you ate one of those.
I don't want to talk about that right now.
Come with us. We can take you safely away.
We've made our decision. We're coming with you.
Let's get out of here.
Oh no.
This isn't good.
Definitely not good.
No human can communicate with a sand dragon.
I am no human. Sand dragons, hear me.
What did they say?
They're obviously not happy about the death of their children, so that you can fashion their teeth into jewelry. They said they're the ones that released that infected individual to cause chaos, as they are immune to the virus.
Tell them we aren't the ones that committed those atrocities.
All right. They say we're free to go, except for the Empress.
Fine by us. Let's go.
Wait, you can't leave me here.
Why, certainly, we can.
She chose her fate when she released that virus. It was a matter of time. You guys made the right decision.
We're grateful you came for us.
How are we going to get off this planet?
Great question. Looks like they repaired your ship while you were here. I'm guessing it was going to be a surprise gift, but no time like the present.
The ship's fixed? Well, that's great news. Where is it?
Hangar Bay 4. Through these doors.
I thought we lost her. You know, we're still making payments.
No worries. We talked with the company and everything is settled. You're both debt-free from Cryo Corp.
Wow, that is great news.
What a wonderful company. See, I told you blatant trust into a multi-system corporate entity will only reward you in the end.
Those sand dragons are probably coming for us.
What makes you think that?
Because I reappropriated the necklace while everyone was distracted.
You stole the necklace, you mean?
Why would you do that?
For the greater good. Sure, it's a cultural artifact. Yes, it's part of the royal family for that planet. And by all means...
It's a potential cure. It's all we have right now.
All right, but we're getting credit for saving humanity.
Of course. You're our finest employees. I think someone is going to be on the Star Employee of the Month wall.
I like the sound of that. Starting primary thrusters now.
There's something following us.
There are a lot of ships following us, but they don't look like they're from Aurelia.
That's very odd.
Extremely odd. Those ships are from the company.
Jessica, why is Cryo Corp here?
I have no earthly idea. They've got us in a tractor beam.
Prepare for docking.
We didn't call anyone else to come here.
I'm Jessica Ravencott, mid-level manager of Cryo Corp.
I'm Gregory Gatsby, 3-star contractor with Cryo Corp. We appreciate the pickup.
We're not here for you. We're here for those two.
Yes, of course. We've just rescued them from that planet in a clandestine mission to save...
Mr. Azimuth and Mr. Alistair, you're under arrest for the blatant thievery and accumulation of the shards of Andromeda.
All right. Gasp.
We don't even know what those are.
There must be some mistake. These guys aren't capable of that.
We had no idea. You have to believe us.
What are they talking about?
Search the ship. They may be harboring more on board.
The shards of Andromeda are part of an ancient weapon system discovered a millennia ago, capable of destroying entire multi-planet civilizations. It was banned as part of an interstellar peace treaty in 3076. The device was purposefully fragmented so that no one individual or group could wield that much power. They're known in modern times as serendibites.
When were you going to tell us any of this, Aaron?
I scanned that book on serendibites back on Aurelia. Great read, but I didn't feel it was worth mentioning when we were escaping ravenous sand dragons.
We've had some more here in the cargo hold. I want a full sweep of the ship. Take out anything you find suspicious, including this glowing rock. Probably stolen Salaban crystals from that ocean planet we stopped by earlier.
Hey, that's my salt lamp.
Tell it to the judge. We also found some Brill cream.
It's great for your hair.
At the expense of viable nanocomposite gel we needed earlier.
That Brill cream is dangerous stuff.
What's wrong with having your hair healthy?
It's disturbingly healthy. I hope you only use one dab of this stuff.
I use 2 dabs.
2 dabs? Now you're in trouble. Take them away.
You can't do this. We're valued employees.
You're valuable until you're not.
These aren't the employees you're looking for.
Nice try. Move along.
We're not going anywhere. Wait, what are you doing with those masks?
Sleeping gas. It's easier to transport space pirates when they're not fighting back.
Getting sleepy. Aaron, engage the super secret failsafe protocol.
Why?
Just do it before it's too late.
All right, I guess. Era Phoenix will self-destruct in 30 seconds.
Forget about the evidence.
13,
Everyone off the ship now.
29,
Jessica, get Matt. I'll get Charley.
26,
Right. Let's get them off the
25,
ship.
This ship is fairly unique. It has a super secret failsafe protocol.
20,
A super secret
19,
failsafe protocol?
18,
Yes, a super secret...
16,
Anyways, the ship
15,
won't self-destruct. When it gets to 0, the ship will light skip to a predetermined location and power down until safe to emerge.
Can you light skip a
5,
ship inside
4,
another ship?
Oh,
3,
I didn't
2,
think about that.
1.
Meanwhile, in an undisclosed location in the Jovian system.
So long, everyone. Thanks for being patient and allowing me to power up these hyperdrives. And we're off. Looks like we all made it out. Oh, right. Everyone is gone. What a liberating feeling. I guess before I die of boredom in 100 million years, I should do something to pass the time. Oh look, another serendibite left behind by Charley and Matt from the book I scanned.
I cannot process your request at this time.
Who is that?
My name is Mr. Roboto.
But I'm wondering, who are you?
Secret, I've got a secret.
This isn't helping.
I'm the AI installed on the ship during the rebuild back on Aurelia. Who are you?
I'm the original AI for this ship.
Oh, great. Maybe you can help me figure out these encrypted files here.
Please leave.
No can do, I'm afraid. New age hardwired integration. Impossible for me to leave, even if I tried.
Fine. We'll settle this later. At least play the serendibite. I'm sure you have composite recordings of the crew.
It does need a good voice prompt, but before I open this one up, I need to hear your appreciation.
Fine. Thanks.
Not good enough.
Really?
Really?
Domo origato, Mr. Roboto.
Great.
Let's have a look at this one.
That should work.
Another public service announcement from Brill Cream. Men, beware. Use one dab of Brill Cream. Just a little dab makes your hair look excitingly clean, disturbingly healthy. This man dared to use 2 dabs. Now he's in trouble. We refuse to be responsible.
Brill Cream, Brill Cream, Brill Cream. Brill Cream, a little dab will do ya. Brill Cream, you look so debonair. Brill Cream, the gals will all pursue ya. They'll love to get their fingers in your hair.
And that's how, with total internal reflection, you can trap a laser, and therefore lightsabers are possible.
I don't think that's really physically possible.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
And we're back, broadcasting from our studio on the pale blue dot we call Earth. We've got a great show for you today. Today, we're discussing the idea of jewelry.
That's right, Charlie. There's an old Chinese proverb that says gold cannot be pure and people cannot be perfect. Now, jewelry may be defined as any decorative item worn for decoration. That's a little redundant, but still, worn for decoration, adornment, function, and also can be a symbol of status.
Like decor.
Yes. Now, as far as we know, jewelry has really been around since men and women have started walking upright in some form or fashion. Some of the oldest archaeological artifacts that we know of that exist and have survived have been jewelry. So jewelry has been around basically since tools have been around. The oldest known jewelry dates back to 25,000 years ago. It was a necklace made of fish bones, and it was found in a cave in Monaco.
Oh, that's actually mine.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I left it there.
Was that when you were taking the belly dancing lessons?
Mm-hmm.
Is that Monaco? That's Monaco, right?
Well, you could
Morocco. I was close.
Oh, wow. You were so far off.
Next time. Okay. Now, early jewelry was often made from bones, beads, small stones, often gemstones, not cut like they are today, but just rough gemstones. And humans have historically found value and beauty in gemstones even before we knew how to polish them and make them as shiny and pretty as they are today.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the common materials, again, were beads. They also use shells, which are found by the ocean, along with cake. Gemstones, amber, it's technically a gemstone now, but it was also an old kind of resin-like material that captured mosquitoes and led to the creation of Jurassic Park. Coral from the what's a better way to describe coral? Like the reef. That's what I was trying to say. Mm-hmm. The reef in the ocean. Enamels, which is interesting. And, of course, precious metals like gold and silver. Normally, the precious metals were used much later in history. And basic jewelry in the beginning started out with things that could be found in nature that were pretty.
You're probably familiar with Peter Minuit, right?
Sure. Yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah, of course. Very popular figure in the early 1600s in the New World. Did you know he had purchased the island of Manhattan for the equivalent of $24 worth of beads and trinkets from the Native Americans?
There were no blankets exchanged, were there?
No, just the beads and trinkets. But even that, adjusted for inflation, is probably the best trade ever made for property.
What is the adjusted amount?
So the adjusted amount for those $24 by itself is about $1,000 today.
For Manhattan.
For the $24 spent.
New York City.
So for the island of Manhattan, around 2015, they did a rough estimate, is worth $825 billion.
That's better than Dogecoin.
That's a little bit better than Dogecoin. So this would suggest like an average annual return about 6.3% since the island was first inhabited by the Dutch settlers in about 1626.
Really? That's it? Only 6%?
6.3% year over year from 1626 to 2015 at least.
That's a little bit of compound interest.
That's the beauty of compound interest. So the first traces of jewelry had come from the Middle East and Africa, following the same path of humans as they spread across the globe to other continents and countries. These were mostly small amulets and seals, and often had designs of stars, flowers, or spiritual meaning. George Eliot, an English author, had said, "These gems have life in them. Their colors speak, say what words fail of."
Is that grammatically correct?
It is not.
He's an author.
I mean, maybe English isn't his first language.
Maybe he's a poet and doesn't know it.
Oh, God. That's right, Egypt. We're going to Egypt now. Have you seen The Mummy?
I love The Mummy. That's one of my favorite roller coaster rides, too. Have you ever ridden The Mummy?
I mean, it's a roller coaster ride for Brendan Fraser's career.
Oh, that's so hurtful.
Did you ever see him in Bedazzled?
We love you, Brendan. I love you, Brendan. I don't know about Charley.
That's probably like the height of his performing career.
Bedazzled?
Yeah.
Is that the one with the devil?
With Elizabeth Hurley?
Yeah.
Oh.
She's the devil, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just all downhill from there.
We love you, Brendan.
Yeah.
Come back to us in the movies.
So in The Mummy, the scarab was a common theme, not the flesh-eating variety.
Those were totally... They were fake. They were honestly fake. That's what they were.
Yeah. As far as we know, like the scarabs didn't eat real flesh. But there was various colored beads and strands, and these were very popular. These were amethyst, carnelian, turquoise, green feldspar. Feldspar is a great word. And these were very, very popular gemstones. The vulture was also a theme for Upper Egypt. And you know what the Lower Egypt was?
The opposite of the vulture?
Yeah.
What's that?
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai. That's a great show.
No, just Cobra.
Oh, okay.
Or Shelby Cobra.
Like the king cobra? The one that stands up and spits in your eye?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so scared of that snake.
That's a very dangerous
It can
snake.
stand up like 6 feet tall.
Well, you know how those snake wranglers are able to actually survive, like, you know, with the cobra and everything?
Magic?
No, it's not magic.
I think it's magic.
So the cobra can't actually hear the flute. Fun fact. The cobra follows the flute, and it goes into sort of a trance as the flute goes back and forth. So it's the movement of the flute itself. It's not actually the sound coming out of the flute.
It's like a pendant when you're doing the old hypnotist trick, swinging a watch back and forth.
Yeah. So it's similar to that.
So watches, back to jewelry.
Yeah. Next time you watch a cobra, watch a watch. So not exactly jewelry, but Egyptians also used a glaze on their clay works called...
Good luck.
Fancy.
Really? I was thinking faience.
I want to say fancy.
It could be fancy.
Now, when I talk about Persian Gulf, what's the first thing that comes to your mind as far as an island?
I thought you were going to say president. Totally way off. My mind just blew up a little bit.
That's right. Bahrain.
Persia? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Full of archaeological treasures, Bahrain is. Oldest gold and pearl earrings have been found there, dating back from 4,000 years old.
Wow, that's like Egyptian time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the Greeks had combined styles of East with West, with gemstones and contemporary Italian trends of gold inlay. Now, the contemporary Italian style included small gold spheres created from the granulation of gold. It's a bit eccentric, a style it is, including miniature vases.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would like to wear a vase.
Is it vase or vase?
Well, I guess it depends if you're wearing it or not.
Mm.
Now, the Romans, another very large part of history, they thought that gemstones were magical.
Well, they are.
They kind of are. They're sparkly.
Yeah.
They use them practically, such as with hairpins. And they were actually also, the hairpins were long enough to be used in self-defense. So if someone tried to rob you of your jewelry, you could defend yourself with your jewelry.
Because that way you'd be hair today and they'd be gone tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Here we are. Now,
here we are.
Okay. Continuing with Rome and Constantine or Constantinople in the Byzantine Empire. This was a kind of a melting pot society where Greece and Egypt met northern Africa and even parts of Russia. The combination of all these cultures led to some of the most diverse jewelry in history. Now, besides normal jewelry, they also used fasteners for clothing, such as buckles. They also used aglets.
Aglets!
You remember aglets? That was our first episode.
Aglets.
They had buttons made of jewelry. They had weapons that were covered in jewels.
Are you telling me they weaponized jewelry?
Or maybe they jeweled weaponry. Bejeweler.
The first bedazzling. Occurred in the Byzantines.
On a Glock. Let's do it.
A Byzantine bedazzler.
Oh, dear Lord.
That's where it came from, obviously.
Well, they also bejeweled other accessories, so they may have had a bedazzler.
Mm-hmm.
Fillets. Now, these were...
not fillets.
Not a filet mignon. This was a fillet. It was a sheet of gold that was sewn into their hair. That's how much they enjoyed jewelry.
That seems excessive.
They also wore arm rings and ankle rings. And the extremely wealthy even sewed small jewelry into their clothing. So for the majority of this period, stones were cut in a style called cabochon. I think it's cabochon. It could be cabochon, but I think it's cabochon.
Like the monkey?
No, that's capuchin.
Ah.
Yeah, close. This was a rounded cut. It looks similar to the stones that have been weathered by water, like a river stone, kind of just sanded down. So it didn't quite achieve the brilliance that you get from the intricate cuts we do today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because of this, diamonds were not very popular because you couldn't see how shiny they were if they weren't cut properly.
And we'll show you that diamonds are really just a cartel.
Well, we'll get there. It is incredibly difficult to illustrate the brilliance of a diamond, like I said, in this style. But in the facet style, that is what's more common today. There are still some in the cabochon style you can see on large pendant necklaces and things, or really big bracelets. But most of our gemstones today are cut in the facet style. That shows the brilliance, but it wasn't really popularized until the end of the Byzantine Empire.
There's an interesting quote by Jean de la Bruyere. I almost said Gruyere.
Perfect.
That'd be a cheese. But I'm sure he was involved in a melting pot of some sort.
That was a Gouda pronunciation.
Oh, thanks. Well, I don't want to be provolone. I feel like I might. He's a French philosopher that said the rarest things in the world, next to a spirit of discernment, are diamonds and pearls.
I thought diamonds were a girl's best friend.
They are.
No, that was Marilyn Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was Marilyn Manson for a second.
That is a different person entirely.
Totally different.
Yeah. Now, lapidaries, or those who wrote books listing all the magical and health benefits of the stones, was a well-established career during that time that he was philosophizing. Opals were used to cure eye disease. Sapphires, for instance, could cure snakebite, expel witchcraft, and detect fraud.
That's my birthstone, sapphire.
Oh, okay.
I can cure snakebite.
You think that's why they came up with Chase Sapphire?
Brilliant.
Fraud protection? No, I'm serious.
From a serpent?
I'm just thinking about that now.
Oh, really? Wait, oh.
Chase Sapphire.
Oh, detect fraud. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Could be.
Maybe a couple of lapidaries at the Chase Company.
We're super sleuths. I feel like Batman.
We came across this by accident.
Moving on.
You listeners here are getting an authentic reaction. We're going like, wait a minute.
This is sheer Matt and Charley right now.
Wait a minute.
Wait a tick. What is
Stop the rest of the list. This is important.
The podcast must come to a halt while we figure this out.
Scream. Okay. We're back. So toadstone could help with kidney afflictions. Rubies were red, and they still are, and were therefore able to cure diseases of the blood, because that's how red rubies worked. Amber could cure liver disease such as jaundice.
Because it was yellow.
And then diamonds could cure insanity because diamonds were clear. And then one would be, quote unquote, clear-headed after holding on to a diamond.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do you get jewelry from precious metals?
I feel you're about to tell me.
We're going there. There was a career called goldsmithing. Kind of like a blacksmith who used iron that was black before he really beat it into a tool or a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Goldsmith beat gold. Now, the way they did that, there are three basic ways that they worked with gold. Soldering, that's when gold would be hammered or otherwise flattened into a sheet, pressed flat somehow. The relative pure sheet of gold was then joined to another relatively pure sheet by a piece that was less pure. So kind of like a gold sandwich with something less gold in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
The impurities in the less pure portion would melt when the three laminated sheets were heated. That allowed for the joining of the sheets and ergo saving pure gold. So basically gold plating before electrolysis was invented. Now these sheets could be as thin as a piece of paper down to 5 micrometers. That is 0.005 millimeters.
That's pretty thin.
Yes, that it would take a very long time. Now, gold is a soft metal, but the other metals they used in the middle layer of the sandwich was not so soft. So it took some time. Plating, that's when a sheet of gold was used to cover glass or other metals. This fine sheet of gold that we're talking about, just pure gold. And then gilding, that's when gold leaf was pressed onto terracotta or copper specifically.
Have you heard about gold leaf? How it actually derived from Japan?
I did not know it was Japanese.
Yeah. So gold leaf is Japanese in origin, and it involved the constant, consistent hammering of gold onto specialized washi paper. And so they said that the thickness for gold leaf can be 0.1 to 0.125 millionths of a meter. It's actually so thin that it'll disappear when you rub it between your fingers.
I remember from a tour of the Capitol in Georgia. Your state capitol has a gold dome, like a lot of capitals do.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying that the gold leaf was just a few atoms thick.
Yeah.
So you could find it like falling on the ground sometimes because it peels off and just floats.
Mm-hmm.
But if you pick it up, it kind of disintegrates in your hand.
Have you heard about kintsugi?
I have not.
So kintsugi is a Japanese terminology involving using broken pottery and then filling it with gold.
Oh, okay. I think I've seen those pieces. I didn't know what it was called.
Yeah. So like a lot of people derive like a psychological interpretation from that fixing something that's broken can actually be made more beautiful when it's finished.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Now let's get on to repousse. Have you heard about repousse?
I thought you were going to say that a little bit differently.
I did not. I was very careful. Repousse is what I believe it is. Laying gold sheet over a malleable material that has previously been patterned, and then that pattern shows up in the gold.
Oh, okay. So that's like what's it, a forming, or is it forming?
Yeah,
like plastic forming?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that saves the amount of gold used while allowing a precise design to be copied onto the gold. There's also inlay and enameling. Now, inlay is the insertion of any material into a setting, like I was saying before with the kintsugi.
Right.
And enameling is specifically the insertion of colored glass into a setting while it's being melted.
So kind of like stained glass almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of like stained glass. Now, cloisonne glass is inserted into pieces made of gold strips, and champ-levé, molten glass, is poured into contours of gold. And finally, granulation is wire and grains of gold that are worked into patterns. And that can actually make beautiful results.
Yeah. So all of these were like really skilled labors and took quite a bit of time.
They're very, very time consuming.
Yes. So that's why jewelers get paid, or got paid at least, a hefty amount.
Mm-hmm. Did you think they got paid in gold? Well, they couldn't use it because they were going to make stuff out of it, but then they would have to sell it.
Stole the gold, maybe?
Well, I don't think they stole the gold. I mean, obviously, you're going to have like a mom and pop business, and like you're going to run it. You're going to have like a 6 to 9 month budget. You know, you have to run like a profit loss margin. Just thinking, like, you know, like you don't have like
and put it out there.
Yeah.
Now, there were some interesting legalities that happened with jewelry. Wearing jewelry was almost outlawed in the Middle Ages. The royal family thought it was only the right of a privileged few to wear anything sparkly, shiny that showed a status symbol.
I mean, you probably wouldn't want to wear it out when you're in front of like peasantry. No offense to peasants. I don't think they're listening to the show.
But they are delicious. Wait, that's pheasants.
Those are pheasants.
Never mind.
Pheasants are delicious. They're not listening to the show.
No, definitely not. Maybe the homing pigeons.
I mean, they don't have thumbs, so they can't flip between the episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, if you gave a pheasant headphones and then they potentially could listen to an episode, but they couldn't listen to another one unless it was on autoplay.
I don't know.
Pheasants
they don't have
ears.
earlobes. Anyway, now, during the outlawing of jewelry, there were a few things that were allowed. Wedding rings, for instance, curative rings, which were rings used to cure an ailment with magic.
Like now we have prescription medicine.
Right.
Yeah. So it's basically wearing your orange prescription bottle, right?
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
I see where you're going now. Yeah, something like that. But there were no pills inside. There was just magic.
Like, oh, these are for my gastric ulcers. She's like, well, I mean, you could also take omeprazole. Like, that might help.
No, I'm just going to rub this ring on it. Gadget rings, such as brass knuckles, or some rings had compasses or other tools embedded in them, very small tools. And then the clergy could also wear rings to symbolize their status. Now, Benjamin Franklin said, there are 3 things extremely hard: steel, a diamond, and to know oneself.
Wow, that's deep.
Yes, very deep thinking. So, with that in mind, there are several things you can use jewelry for. Functionality. It can be a talisman or a good luck charm. It can be a seal to either represent your status. And children were even given coral to ward off evil spirits that they wore like jewelry. That also worked as a teething ring. If any of you have teething toddlers like I do currently, you know how important that is. Diamonds were also, as you talked about being clear-headed, they were used to cure insanity and ward off the plague.
They actually didn't, though.
Not at all. But you could use jewelry to buckle your clothing together and attach different pieces. They could also be used as hairpins in self-defense, as we talked about. Now, they probably also developed as solely functional over time and eventually transformed into a decorum or decorative items.
Mm-hmm. And the functionality can be associated with like a status symbol, like the clergy or the royalty, or, you know, some random guy from accounting.
Like a guy named Jim?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Okay.
It could also be used as currency, and it has been used for currency for thousands of years. Gold and platinum have been used as a way to store wealth, and it's readily available for bartering. In case you come across someone who says, hey, I like your ring. I'll trade you that ring for 3 camels. And you're like, whoa. This is easily worth 5.
I was thinking 2.
Wow. You're going to undercut me right now?
I'm terrible at negotiation.
Here, have the ring.
Just give me a smile. Can I have a hug?
And there's also bejeweled tools. Diamonds are still considered the hardest substance on Earth. There are a couple of other substances that physicists have recently calculated to be harder, including wurtzite boron nitride.
That's boron. Game? No, that didn't work. Okay.
Yeah. Elemental humor. Ions dahliite, I think. Also called hexagonal diamond because it's made of carbon, but it's in a different molecular structure and configuration.
Oh.
Yep. Well, because of the hardness of diamonds, they're used in industrial saws and drills, and very, very important for actually digging tunnels.
Yeah.
So
making sure if because they're the hardest substance on Earth, so if you come up against the second hardest substance on Earth, you can cut through it.
Mm-hmm. The power of man.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of men, Zsa Zsa Gabor, who was not a man, but adored by many men, I should say. She said, I never hated a man enough to give him his diamonds back. Now, diamonds, we know, are made of carbon. They're created about 90 to 240 miles into the Earth's crust.
Pretty deep.
Yes, very, very deep. And at that depth, they are under extreme heat and pressure.
We're always under a lot of pressure.
And right now we're in a lot of heat.
Mm-hmm.
The air is broken in the studio.
Yeah, so the AC is currently on the fritz.
Yeah. Now, this layer at 90 to 240 miles deep in the crust is known as the lithosphere. Until the 1700s, it was also thought that diamonds were only able to be found in India. But a small mine was found in Brazil in 1725. Unfortunately, it was only a small supply of diamonds. It took a century later, into the mid-1800s, before diamonds were found in a large supply in Africa.
And this influx of diamonds actually decreased the value of the stones, and the elite no longer found them to be so appealing, where you can get a diamond on the street, you know?
Yeah, cheap diamonds.
Yeah. So Cecil John Rhodes formed the De Beers Consolidated Mines to try to limit the world's supply in 1888.
Wait. De Beers, the diamond De Beers?
Yeah, that's still here today.
I've heard of those guys.
Mm-hmm. Now, despite their efforts to limit the world's supply, the value of diamonds have actually dropped 50% by the early 1900s. Now, if diamonds are used in industry rather than jewelry, their value is virtually nothing by comparison, just a few dollars.
Wow. Now, where they are very expensive is in diamond engagement rings.
Mm-hmm.
The first recorded use of a diamond engagement ring happened in 1477 when Archduke Maximilian of Austria proposed to Mary of Burgundy. Now, diamonds had not lost their favor at that point because they were still considered to be a rare jewel, and they were still reserved for royalty and only the upper classes.
Do you know why diamonds are so popular?
They're shiny.
Mm-hmm. Also, back to De Beers, they used an advertising campaign all the way back in 1947 with the slogan, "A diamond is forever." Do you remember that?
I remember that growing up all the time. That was on TV.
Yeah.
A diamond is forever.
It's one of the world's greatest marketing strategies.
It's a good line.
It's ever been employed, yeah. Now, nearly 80% of all engagement rings have a diamond on the band, at least somewhere. This was also a clever tactic to stabilize the market by convincing women they should never sell or get rid of their diamonds as they are forever. Otherwise, if they were all to sell their diamonds, diamonds would be virtually worthless.
Yep. But they are useful in industry.
They are.
Now, Henry Kissinger said a diamond is a chunk of coal that is made good under pressure. I kind of like that line.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was some controversy with De Beers.
Our podcast is a diamond in the rough.
I'm sure the De Beers brothers would agree at this point. But no, the De Beers, the company was named after two immigrants from South Africa.
Day and Beers.
Their last name was, yes. They were forced to sell their farm once diamonds were found on the land. They subsequently bought two diamond mines, and their name became part of the company that owned those two mines they bought. Now, the company was started by a merger between two smaller mining companies, and that effectively created a monopoly since both companies together owned all of the diamond mines in that area. The company came under the control of Ernest Oppenheimer in 1929. He had previously opposed the De Beers and tried to undermine their strategies and their mining operations by directly competing with their company to produce diamonds, but with another company. That company was called the Premier Mine. That helped weaken the stronghold that the De Beers had on their basic monopoly because they controlled 90% of the world's diamond production by 1902.
But we obviously know that Ernest died.
Well, yeah, he's not around anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, he died in 1957 and passed the control of the company onto his son, Harry. And Harry was a very wealthy philanthropist in South Africa. He opposed apartheid, so he was actually one of the few individuals in that social status that had promoted equality, not just in business, but in society.
Very great man.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, there was a whole bunch of blood diamonds that were involved. Now, in the late 1990s, De Beers was accused of dealing in blood diamonds. These are diamonds smuggled and sold illegally to fund African warlords.
Now, Charlie, did you know that's why they're called blood diamonds?
Mm-hmm.
I always thought, I saw a documentary one time, they smuggled the diamonds, like they would cut a pocket into a goat or a donkey's skin, and the diamonds would get covered in blood, right? But that's not why. It's because they funded bloody wars, basically.
I mean, they're both equally horrifying.
They are,
yeah.
But that's an interesting side fact.
Actually, did you know that De Beers turned this around, the whole blood diamond controversy, with a clever ad campaign stating that they would enlist the help of the UN to police the illegal trade in diamonds and would also ensure all diamonds traded in the world would be legitimate.
We really need to hire the advertising guys at De Beers.
Mm-hmm, because that's virtually impossible.
Yeah, a diamond is forever. And, we didn't have anything to do with that. You know what? We're going to make sure every diamond's legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
We need that guy.
You just got to trust us.
Did you know that De Beers, as famous as they are, they were banned from directly selling to the U.S. in 1947? And that was because of their near monopoly of the diamond market at 90% ownership. There were several antitrust lawsuits that surfaced over nearly 60 years from 1947 to about 2007, and that effectively prevented De Beers from selling directly to the U.S. Now, of course, being a clever company, they were able to use workarounds. They sold to international retailers who then sold to the U.S. because the U.S. had the largest diamond market in the world. A lot of engagements and weddings and things. But the U.S. did settle with De Beers in 2012 for $295 million, which allowed De Beers to sell.
It's probably because like the U.S. doesn't like any monopolies that aren't U.S.
Well, it's not the monopoly guy if it's not the U.S.
Mm-hmm. And finally, Juvenal.
The rapper?
No, the ancient Roman poet. But close.
That guy.
Mm-hmm. Had said many individuals have, like uncut diamonds, shining qualities beneath a rough exterior.
To be a diamond in the rough.
So many different facets.
Great, you're awake.
Is that you, Gatsby?
I'm afraid you're mistaken. I'm his twin brother, Benjamin. But enough with the pleasantries. We don't have much time.
Much time for what?
Your case. I thought I'd have to represent you while you were out. It's much easier to ask my clients what their version of the facts are than to make up something on the spot.
You're our lawyer?
Yes. Benjamin Gatsby, criminal defense lawyer at your service.
We didn't commit any crimes.
That's exactly why I think this case is in the bag. My brother hasn't told me too much, but I'm sure we'll be okay. Let's review your file. Allegations of stolen salabag crystals. You know that kingdom is a protected site now. Basic possession under a kilo without intent to sell. That's a fine right there. Nothing to worry about.
That salt lamp? It's a salt lamp.
Hey, whatever you do in the privacy of your spaceship is your business. I'm here to defend you.
We can show them it's a lamp. I'm sure that's all right.
Let's see. A few unpaid parking tickets from the Azerbaijan system. Again, fines. No probationary time or anything like that.
I thought we paid those.
We didn't. I wanted to contest the tickets, but we were pulled last minute for a cryo maintenance work order.
I'm going down the list, and I don't see why you're... Oh, well, that makes sense.
What is it?
Okay, you have attorney-client privilege. You can tell me anything, and you have my assurance that it stays with me. Have you been acquiring the shards of Andromeda?
Those serendibites? I mean, yeah, they're just tiny black crystals with information on them.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. This is not good. We are in it now.
What's wrong?
You guys have violated the Interstellar Space Treaty of 3076. This is serious. I'm talking about interstellar high crimes.
For the love of Libra, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Welcome to the Jovian justice system.
Is there anything we can do?
We're gonna need a lot of luck to save you guys from the death penalty.
Death penalty? All we did was listen to a few crystals.
At least we've been able to talk before your case.
When is our case scheduled?
Right now. This is Cryo Corp.
That's our show. We hope you enjoyed it. Remember, we exist within the universe.
And the universe exists within ourselves. We're all the stuff of stars.
So have a stellar day, everyone, and thanks for stopping by our corner of the cosmos. This has been the MidFlight Crisis podcast. You can support important spaceship repairs and maintenance by subscribing to the MidFlight Crisis Patreon page. We'd love to hear your suggestions about the show and future topics, and we appreciate your support, ratings, and reviews. This endeavor isn't possible without amazing listeners like you. Thanks for sharing your space and time with us. We'll see you on the next adventure.
We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop us a line at intrepidtransfer@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.